Oh man, Bernie's under attack. I'm so scared. The Trump campaign is stepping up its attacks on Bernie Sanders, a reflection of the independent Vermont senator's momentum in the race for the Democratic nomination, and his sharp criticism of a U.S. military strike against an Iran official that has provoked turmoil in the Middle East. For most of 2019, President Trump's allies braced for an eventual clash with former Vice President Joe Biden, who remains a top contender for the Democratic nomination. But Trump's attacks this week underscore how the president's campaign increasingly views Sanders as a potential general election threat. You know you're doing well when you get attacked in politics, and the biggest concern in politics is if you don't get any attacks because then you're irrelevant, said Representative Ro Khanna, a top advisor to the Sanders campaign. I've heard reports in private from people that Trump doesn't actually underestimate him. He understands Sanders' appeal to rural America. He understands Sanders' appeal to working class voters. At a campaign rally in Toledo, Ohio on Thursday night, Trump singled out Sanders for criticizing the strike that resulted in the death of General Qasem Soleimani. A separate Trump campaign statement warned that Sanders can't be trusted to defend American lives as commander in chief. Now, this article actually says something really good here. They state both Trump and Sanders have campaigned on the promise to end U.S. involvement in military conflicts in the Middle East, but escalating tensions in Iran have complicated the president's message on that front. That's actually not true. He did campaign along with Sanders, just separately on the same stance of getting out of war, but one of them has been in office for 3 years now and has kept us at all 7 of the wars we were in before his tenure started. So, this Iran thing is just a phony. They're trying to go, he tried to keep his promise, but Iran has been so. It's like you've started. Whatever. I'm not going to rehash that. We've already talked about how this is the U.S.'s fault. Okay. There's a comment in here I wanted to point out that I thought was really funny, and I kind of fell on the floor laughing at because I always try to say that elections can be serious and they can also appear to, have effects on people's lives. But sometimes the people who are more involved in this stuff than I am, and when I say that, I mean like, on the professional level, oh, I'm a campaign advisor and whatnot. So a Trump ally, an anonymous one, and thank God he's anonymous because I would laugh at him for the rest of his life, or my life, if I knew who he was, stated the following. Imagine the crazy stuff he was saying in local radio interviews when he was mayor in Burlington, Vermont, or a congressman in late 80s and early 90s and got zero media coverage. So far, Republicans have just played softball with Bernie and used him as a cudgel to attack other Democrats. We don't know how Bernie will act or how it could affect him if he had the right-wing kill machine aimed at him. Now, let me tell you something. These Republican clowns can never say anything that will remotely trick me or get me to believe their side because it's not backed by fact. It's simply repeating nonsense. So this right wing kill. First of all, the Republicans have literally used Sanders admitting to being a socialist during the previous primary to try and say, random Democrat here is socialist. They had the Democratic mayor of, what was it? Not mayor, governor of Kentucky, who is one of the most right wing members of the party on overall. And Trump called him a socialist. And so when they lost, like, oh, I guess he isn't one. But it's just, they use stupid terms to try and push back against pretty much anything that we're trying to do. So we're going to be told they want to get rid of private insurance. No, they want to get rid of the price gouging. They want this $30 trillion Green New Deal. No, you guys are spending trillions of dollars in these wars. I don't see anyone trying to balance the budget for that other than Rand Paul. So what I'm saying is this little machine they're talking about using, they've already deployed it. They have nothing left, and they're very much aware that in being the Democratic nominee, Sanders would be propelled to a national level, and then he would wipe Trump's orange behind. So bring it on.